How fun. All right, so here we go. Welcome everyone to today's session. Today we'll be covering how AI is impacting customer feedback for modern product teams. I am Camila Souza, Senior Director of Customer Success at Dragonboat. Every day, I work with product and success leaders trying to cut through the noise of analyst feedback and focus on truly what drives customer value. That is where AI is changing the game. Today, we'll look at how product teams can use AI to turn feedback into action, prioritizing customer needs, and staying adaptive and making stronger decisions. I am thrilled to be joined by Matt Young, CEO of UserVoice, and explore how AI and integrations like Dragonboat and UserVoice are transforming product operations and helping teams scale impact across organizations. Hi, Matt. Welcome, and thanks for joining me today.
Hi, thanks, Camilla. Always great to see you, and thanks to everyone who's joined.
Absolutely. All right, Matt. If we have a short time here, so if you don't mind, let's jump right into the topic. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's go. And I love questions from the audience, so feel free to throw those in all the right places.
Absolutely. As folks come in, please drop your questions either on the chat or in the Q&A box, and we will fold that in during our conversation, or we'll leave a few minutes towards the end so we can address some of your questions. All right, here we go. All right, Matt. So what is the biggest shift you are seeing in how product teams use feedback now the AI is part of the process?
Yeah, it's been an enabler, and I think that one of the things that is going to come up over and over again as we talk today is I view trust as a really important component of the relationship between a company and its customers and between people and their use of AI. So what used to take a lot of manual effort, you'd have to read every piece of feedback you got, you'd have to organize it, you'd have to process it. A lot of that busy work, it can be handled by AI these days, categorizing things, grouping them together. Um, really just takes a lot of busy work out of the mix, and that lets people do the big brain, deep thinking things that I know that all product management wants to do and get done to help serve their customers better. Um, but one of the threats is that um, your ability to deliver software is no longer a competitive advantage. Everyone's got the same tools. Software is easier to write than ever. It's easier to start a company than ever. So I really think that the key thing in thinking about using AI is that it frees up time for you to spend more time with your customers and speaking to our customers. And I've been at UserVoice for 10 years now, which sounds crazy, but spoken with hundreds or if not thousands of different product teams, and almost to a person, they say, I wish I could spend more time with our customers. And AI is a thing that I really hope will unlock that for people.
That's good. That's good. I know you are a big proponent of context, and we all know with the AI and how things are moving, the speed what we are able to synthesize the feedback, create themes, and then kind of push forward things. So I am curious how user voice is helping companies bridge that gap today, knowing that you do like the context of having customers, providing feedback, even on your, by the way, for the audience, I used to work at User Voice and I had the pleasure of working with Matt. So I know the space a little too well. But really, Matt, be interested in knowing how User Voice is adapting to, the AI piece on moving fast and then kind of folding the nuance and the human judgment into the product decision.
Yeah, so Camilla probably already knows what I'm going to say because we have worked closely together in the past. Um, So if you took me back to like 2018, I joined UserVoice to lead engineering, and my background's in engineering, and the things that our customers were asking us for were just technically not feasible back then. And now with the advent of AI systems, we can detect themes, we can put things like sentiment or urgency analysis, we can recommend labels and categories, we can produce all kinds of reports for people. Um, but I personally am really invested in making sure that we maintain human contact with our customers. Taking humans out of the mix, it's just not the empathetic relationship that you want as a customer of a company. I know that we've all had the experience of using an AI-driven help bot that feels either dismissive or they're just trying to get rid of you or doesn't really answer your question, that may be fine in certain self-service contexts. But when it comes to understanding the problems that your customers want to solve with you, you really need to build trust. And that trust is only gained through human interaction. So yes, by all means, use AI to dig through that massive pile of data that you get, find the insights, and put them together. But your people are the ones who know, is this feedback from your ICP? Is it from a real person that's a customer that you can identify? Or is it a random piece of feedback that's out there on the internet that you can't attribute to a real customer or anything like that? So context matters. Human beings looking at the data really matters. But AI can let you operate at scales you never could before. And a lot of our customers are very large companies that are getting tons and tons of feedback. For it to be actionable for them at all, they historically needed huge teams of people. And
Yeah.
now they can use software to help empower their more senior people, their leaders, their directors to make great decisions.
Absolutely. That's actually a great segue to one of our audience's question. And I know you love this one. Is there any volume of customer feedback that you would say is too much in the product development process, given AI is making us much more efficient and giving us access to so much more research?
My answer to, is there too much volume? I think the answer is no, but there's a big asterisk next to it. And this, I wanted to come armed with a few concrete stories from our customers. And one of them is from uh, a, a very big video streaming platform. They've been using multiple ways to get feedback, as most companies do. You might use your help desk or sales demos or anything like that to also capture feedback. But they were using one of the newer tools that uses AI to scrape systems like Reddit or X or other social media places and just gather anything they could about their company, what was being said out there. But they came to realize that they didn't have a lot of trust in that data because it wasn't attributed to a customer, a real person. And they found themselves almost more distracted by that feedback rather than empowered by it. So um, they switched to primarily using UserVoice because we force any feedback to be captured to be associated to the person that comes with it, and that's kind of our primary focus. We'd rather go target your customers, prospects, the people that have a vested interest, rather than the general population at large. This is my scary AI story of the day. Um, but one of the things I'm worried about, we haven't seen this much yet, but one of the things I'm worried about is that just like um, foreign countries interfering with
Yeah.
elections and things like that, it's entirely possible for anyone to write a system to saturate the internet with feedback that's misleading for a
Mhm.
company. So without attributing that feedback to a known customer, a known person, and having it vetted and validated, you're operating on bad information.
That's amazing. I totally agree with that. And then I come from a place where anonymous feedback it doesn't help anyone, right? So we need to know, we need that context that you spoke of and tying really into your ISP and what we're trying to achieve and the solutions that we're trying to provide. So great insight there. And it kind of leads into my next question. When it comes to feedback, often comes again in overwhelming quantities. How is user voice or your team today prioritizing feedback, especially when balancing customer needs with business goals?
Yeah, I think those two are not mutually exclusive.
Okay.
Obviously, your business goals should be aligned around customer needs, but a lot of people when they come to us initially are worried that um, they're not going to be able to respond to all the feedback that they get, that people will get angry if they don't do everything that they're asked. Um, sure, that may happen in very rare circumstances if you have a particular personality type, but I don't think that's most people. I think what most people are looking for is to be heard, to be acknowledged, and be told the truth. Like, be transparent in your build process. Um, we're we as User Voice are really big advocates of building in public. We share what we're doing. We share the why behind it. And I think some of that comes to um, your notion of aligning what you do and your product prioritization decisions around clearly understood goals within the company. So you know the ICP that you're trying to serve, you know uh, what you're trying to do as a company, where you're trying to get penetration, et cetera. Um, and those things are just the things that you need to know to be able to help you prioritize at scale. This huge volume of data is not useful unless you have the ability to segment it, break it down by person, break it down by goal, and turn it into a digestible amount of feedback that you can process and prioritize from.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that makes total sense.
Yeah,
So, another one for you. As the product stack evolves across the board, and then moving fast now is no longer a differentiator, as you mentioned,
yeah.
right? Um, where do you see the biggest opportunities for tool like Dragonboat and UserVoice to unify data, strategy, and delivery?
One thing that has been a core of our strategy for as long as we've been around, and that's 15, 16, 17 years at this point, is that we're only a product feedback management company. Over the years, we've been asked to build behavioral analytics, survey software, help desk software, all the peripheral things that you want as a product management team. But we've always stayed focused on doing one thing really well because we can make sure that the data is reliable and that you can bank on what you've got, that the tools are purpose built for the particular area that you're trying to handle. So when I view the relationship between a tool like UserVoice and a tool like Dragonboat, um, you can think of product ideas, not just feedback that you get, as a funnel. And your job as a product organization is to filter that funnel into the meaningful things in the same way that a marketing organization would filter leads out into ones that matter the most. And not until you've filtered your product feedback down into something that you are going to act on, would you push it over to something like Dragonboat. And Dragonboat has its amazing strengths in resource management, overall program management, and it has different data sources that it needs, including what is the feedback, you know, where did it come from and what's the raw data. So I view this as just a pipeline that needs to be developed, just like a sales and marketing pipeline, where each higher step in the funnel is passing over information to another domain expert in the stage. UserVoice would be terrible at driving engineering teams. That's what Atlassian stacks and things like that are for. But engineers need to know, what are the product management goals? What is the data that led to those goals? So I feel like having deep expertise in the area that the product serves and really understand what it's trying to do for customers and making sure that that data is accessible across the organization is really critical. Plus, the data needs to be reliable at every step.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with this more. So since today everybody's shifting into AI, we have customers that are using Dragonboat and User Voice. Without naming names, can you share an example of a product or that adapted its feedback and decision-making process in an AI first way?
Yes, uh, I can cite a number of them, but I think the one I love the most is we have a Fortune 100 customer.
Mhm.
They produce creativity software, if you can guess. Anyway, they have tons and tons of users, and one of the things that we heard from their team is that they have behavioral analytics that most of us as product people would die to have because they have statistical significance on almost every widget, button, control in their system. And they used to make decisions based on all the quantitative information that comes along with behavioral analytics. But like a lot of companies, they realize is they need to be more human to human connected to their customers. And they decided that nothing's going to get on the roadmap unless there's customer quotes to amplify the data that they're seeing from other sources, whether it's surveys, behavioral analytics, or anything like that. And that's really the thing that across an organization makes the pain of a customer feel real. In their words, this is what they said. So they also get a ton of qualitative feedback through UserVoice. They're getting, oh my God, an amazing amount of feedback every single day. without AI powered search, without being able to organize the feedback by themes, finding those quotes, finding those people, and making sure that they're segmented out from their ICP and things like that would be very difficult to do. So um, your quantitative tools, BI tools, et cetera, they can surface all kinds of helpful metrics for you to make decisions. But staying connected to the real problems that your customers want you to solve, so helpful to have it in their own words coming forth. And using AI to bubble that up to the surface is so much easier than it ever used to be.
That's awesome. And do you feel, Matt, that more and more customers are going to be taking that approach, as in this AI first way? They would like a bit over you mentioned before, leverage, AI to summarize, quantify, but then, in certain ways, having the AI and human, right, kind of tied to it, like adding the context, and then actually making sure that things that are being accounted for are really, valid and will be tied into the solution or project or the product vision that they are building. Do you foresee that that's kind of where we're going with this, or what is your take on that?
I think I would take an argument with AI first, because AI can't tell you what's in the hearts and minds and emotions of your customer. That said, you need to use AI to keep up with everyone else who's using AI to make decisions, to build software, et cetera. I read a really interesting study, which I can drop in the chat if you guys are reading. There was a research study of AI assistant coding tools, where most people think that AI tools will give a 30 to 40% bump in productivity for developers, but in reality, they observed a 19% slowdown in productivity from developers. And I think all of that just has to do with the current state of quality that AI
Okay.
can comes in. I view AI like calculators. When I was a kid,
Okay.
calculators in math class were cheating, and now it's a tool that is great. Like, of course, it speeds up things, but you need to know what the inputs and outputs from a calculator should be. You need to know how to put what's in there, ask the right question, and interpret the answer. Of course, a calculator is a whole lot more reliable today than an LLM is today. So humans still need to be very involved in making sure they're asking the right questions, making sure that you sanity check the output of any AI-driven system. But that said, the amount of data that can be processed through AI is substantial, and all of your competitors are doing it. So you need to we have a little bit of a meta problem also. Our software needs to help our customers figure out how they should be using AI to help their customers. Because
Yeah.
that's the big question on everyone's mind, like what AI features should we have? So I feel like we're getting into the second and third iterations of, helping our customers with AI. Everyone wanted to try it out when it first came out. No one really knew like what questions to ask or what features to provide. We were kind of guilty of putting it out there because we could and because it was sexy. But I think in a lot of cases we've seen that cause people to focus much more on their customers, because in the end I think the companies that are going to win the market are the ones that have learned the fastest, not coded the fastest. If you learn from your customer.
Oh, I think we might have lost Matt. Hey, you're back. Or you're mute.
I am sorry I lost you.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all good. All right. So we're talking about like a potential balance, right? So I want to double tap on that because there is a question coming through, right? So the question is, in your opinion, based on what you've seen today, your experience, and then tie back to the last point you're making. What is your advice for leaders when it comes to striking that balance or the right balance between, AI and human collaboration? Have you got to a firm opinion, or is this something that you're still developing and evolves as AI gets better or people are using, in many different ways?
Uh, it will continue to evolve and it will continue to get better and at a very rapid rate. But as of today, I think the word that you used, opinions, is a critical one. I don't like AI's opinions. I
Huh?
like AI's ability to synthesize data and get busy work done.
Mhm.
But I rely on human beings for their opinions. I want them to take the output of data analysis. So still, there's been a lot of conversation about how AI is going to take classes of jobs away from people, and product management is one of
Right.
them. Um, if people trim their PM teams with expectations that AI will do that job for them, I have a feeling they'll backtrack on that fairly quickly. You need that human connection, the human interpretation. I really just view AI as a time saver for getting a lot of busy work done. Um, as an example, we have a feature that will take a very large amount of feedback, divide that into themes, and then for each theme, it will give you like a little one pager. Like, what would executing improvements on this theme do for your customers? And it, pulls in metrics and it synthesizes stuff. The reason that that's useful is not because the output of that report is a roadmap for you to succeed, but it's because you can make a lot of those now, and you as a human being can read through 10 different reports and 10 different options where you could previously only explore two or three major pathways in front of you before you ran out of time and had to do something. So really I think this enables humans to consider more possibilities
Yeah.
and make better decisions because of it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's all about opinions. Everybody has one. I don't
Yes.
say I is always the right one. All right. So we have some questions coming in, and I know we are almost at time. So I want to kind of get as many of those answered. So the first one is AI has become synonyms of innovation, but how do you filter hype from real, tangible value when integrating AI into feedback processes?
This is all product management 101. The thing that I think I'm guilty of this, I think most product managers lose sight of this, is solving real problems for real people.
Yeah.
So every time I find myself like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if dot, 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 and I can't point to a customer or feedback that we've captured or anything like that that justifies it, maybe it is a good idea, but I need to go verify that in some way. So I feel like, in this AI driven world where products are coming up like weeds, again, it's the people that understand their customers best. Um, one theme that's come up a ton in customers that are coming to us is the word trust. They're either trying to regain the trust of their existing customers or they're trying to look trustworthy to their customers. And I think that um, people have gotten savvy enough to know that if the interface between you and your customers is AI, and AI might have replaced like the megalomaniac CEO that knew everything that was right and was just telling their team what to do. Um, the people who feel listened to, the people who feel like you understand their problems and are right there with them trying to solve them, they're the ones that are going to trust you. They're the ones that are going to succeed. Um, so I don't know if that really answers the question, but using AI when you understand the problem that you're going to try to solve is directing resources in the right direction. But if you don't have that, you're just getting work done that may be the first step in the wrong direction.
Interesting. Okay. We have another question coming through here. It says, what is a good model to leverage humans in the loop while maximizing AI efficiency and throughput, or throughput, specifically the ability to identify signal from noise? Ooh, this is a loaded question.
This is a really good one. We at UserVoice, and the reason I mentioned this is not necessarily to talk about the product, but to
Right.
to talk about the way we philosophically think about how to prioritize what we want to do. We use a lot of quantitative information to bolster up the feedback that we get. So whether you're using software that has direct integrations with multiple systems, CRMs, Dragonboat, et cetera, or just using ChatGPT by plugging in spreadsheets or something like that, being able to synthesize the data across the feedback that you're getting, who provided it, and how meaningful that might be to your company's goals and the audience that you're trying to serve. That's really the place where it can float the good stuff to the top and leave the rest on the bottom. A lot of the good things about AI, there are two things I really like about AI. It helps you avoid recency and confirmation bias
Yeah.
by being able to look at a longer history of feedback rather than just what you read in the last quarter. You can look back a year, you can look back 2 years if you want. I would argue that you shouldn't look back more than 2 years because feedback older than 2 years these days is, maybe it's still valid, but probably more dust than not. The I think the oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. It happens occasionally. We have it. Um, but yeah, just using data to really understand the customer problems and then join that with real quantitative metrics to make it a thing that matters is really important.
Absolutely. I agree. Hey, Becky, I saw you joined us. Welcome. So I have one more question for you because I think I have a couple of more minutes to go.
Mhm.
So looking ahead, it seems like 5 years now. It's forever, right? With
That's an eternity.
it's
Yeah.
just like people talking about 5 years. Let's talk about 3 years. The most is right. Sounds like a long time. So looking ahead 3 years, how do you envision the product feedback landscape evolving, and what role user voice and Dragonboat will play?
Um, I would even challenge that 3 years is
A
a
long
very
time.
long horizon. I'd
Yeah,
go for one. Think 5 years ago, we were all in COVID world, and how much has the universe changed
absolutely. Yep.
since then? And no one was talking about GPT back then. There are very few of us were looking into it.
Yeah.
Um, and now it's ubiquitous, it's everywhere. And the rate at which that's accelerating is incredible. So tools like Dragonboat, tools like UserVoice, there are plenty of other good product tools out there that help you really understand the real problems your customers are facing and keeping back those first principles. Why are we doing this? For who? And then at every step along the way, tell your team what goal it is, what customer problem it is that justifies the feature you're releasing, the marketing campaign that you're doing, because it will help them in their decision making every single day. And one of the things I love the most is when one of our employees comes to me and says, "But Matt, I don't know why we're doing that. It has nothing to do with what you stated were our goals."
Right.
And they're usually right. Like it's because I got excited about something, as we do, and go off in a different direction. So keep very close to your customers, get yourself a good representative advisory board, all the kinds of things that you need to help really understand what their problems are. They'll thank
Awesome.
you for it. They'll stay more loyal. Your retention will go up.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for uh, participating and really unpacking where we're going with this AI and how softwares like ours or solutions like ours are helping a lot of our customers, and how we are not going to be out of the game, right? We keep evolving and leveraging AI to become more efficient, but always carrying the human context. So we're at the time. So I appreciate talking to you once again. And then for the rest of the attendees, thank you for joining the session. And if you have any questions, you can keep dropping those up and we will answer and follow up with you after the session is over. Thank you,
Wonderful.
Matt.
Yeah, thanks everyone. And remember, you are not replaceable.
There you go. Thank you.
Hey,
Bye.
Becky.